So I'm trying to become an independent game developer. I had this idea for a while now where you use the recoil of your weapon to move around the player. So I developed a small little demo where I tried it out and see if it was fun or not. And then I came up with the idea of the inhale gun, where you use the gun to inhale some air and blow it out. That's the basic principle of the gun. But you can use it to really move around and double jump or inhale enemies and shoot them out and stuff. So I thought that was a really fun gameplay mechanic. So I played around with it a bit and got it play tested. And then I thought that I can make this into a real product. I'm gonna start to develop a real indie game that I'm going to release later on. I headed over to Google Docs and opened up a document to get some ideas on the paper at the start of the project. I think this is really important to write down and plan out some of your ideas. So I wrote down some basic mechanics for the game. I know it's a small design document, this barely counts as a design document, but it will grow with the project. Because I got some cool ideas planned for the future on where I can take this mechanic. I know some developers don't do this, but this helps me stay organized and not make this game unnecessarily big. This basically helps me keep the scope of the game. But I think this is a great start at least. After that I headed out to Trello and planned out some basic stuff I really need to have when I start building the game. This also helps me stay organized with the project so I know what I will work on next. This will grow a lot later, but now I was really itching to start coding, so I just put on the necessary stuff for now. So I planned out some basic frameworks I really need to have when I'm going to build a game. I planned this project around the solid principles of coding to keep the code more modular. For example, so I have an entity framework that handles movement for both player and the enemy AI. This also helps me with efficiency. But both of the enemy AI and the player I will code in this video. Now let's just create the project in Unity. Alright, so now when I got the project made and the design document written and the project planned in Trello, I really need to get some coding done. So the first thing I really need to work on, I think, is the player movement and really get that going so it feels good to play the game. But before I can work on the player class, I need to make the entity class to really keep this modular, so I can use the entity movement or the entity jump mechanics in the player and the enemies in the future. So I really need to plan this. So let's get this started. At the beginning it was pretty simple, because I already had developed a lot of the features in my demo project, so I moved them over and changed them to fit the solid principles. I broke the jump function into its own framework and the movement into its own and the input into its own and so on. Then I just tweaked the gravity and the move speed and such to get a better flow of the movement. So I ticked a lot of the boxes from Trello. Then I started to work on some AI. It went well. I used a physics-based detection of the player, but then this happened. I forgot to make the entity detect the direction it should move, and it was really frustrating to figure out what I did wrong. But eventually I figured it out and I solved it. The funny thing is that I forgot to subtract the position of the player with the position of the enemy to get a new direction. So I can tick that off the list for now. So, we had a great start. We did the design document, the Trello to keep everything organized, the framework around the entity and the player and the enemy AI. So the next thing we really need to do is get away from these white boxes and really get some graphics going on. So I'm gonna do that in the next video. So please leave a like and subscribe if you want more development content from me, and thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next video where we're gonna do so much more.